بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علمك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. After the discussion about ijza or sufficiency, we move to the next chapter, chapter 4, about muqaddamatul wajib. You can say muqaddamatul wajib, you can also say muqaddimatul wajib, because both of them are used. So, what we mean by muqaddama is like a prerequisite. But as you will see, inshallah, during this class, sometimes muqaddama used even for parts of a compound. And therefore in English it's difficult to say this is prerequisite. For example, when we say internal muqaddama, al-muqaddamatul dakhiliya, it's used for the parts. But anyway, muqaddama means something which is needed for another thing. We say muqaddima and dhil muqaddima. Okay? Muqaddima. Can say with alif and al-muqaddima and dhil muqaddima. For example, wuzu is muqaddima. Salat is dhil muqaddama. The one who needs that muqaddama is salat. So salat is called dhul muqaddama. Or for example, you want to give a lecture. You give a muqaddama at the beginning of lecture. Normally, the Hose style is we bring a muqaddama. We mention something as introduction. Then we go into the main theme and subject, which is Zal Muqaddama. Unfortunately, sometimes people who are not experienced, if they have been given 15 minutes, 20 minutes time in conference, they spend all of it on Muqaddama. By the time the time is finished, he says, I have not yet entered into the main subject. This happens for those who are not experienced. So, you have to plan in the way that you spend good time on the main topic. If you don't have time for muqaddama, avoid muqaddama or make it very short. Anyway, muqaddama means what is needed for something else. Dhil muqaddama is the main purpose, the main thing that you want. Okay, so muqaddama and dhil muqaddama. تعريف المقدمة ما يتوصل بها إلى شيء آخر. Muqaddama is something that by which you want to get into something else. Tabassul with sad from wusul means you want to reach. You want to reach or get to something else through this. على وجه, in the way, لولاها, if this muqaddama is not there, لما أمكن تحصيله, it's not possible to get that dhil muqaddama. If you don't have this, you will not have the main thing. If you don't have wuzu, you cannot have salat. If you don't have visa, you cannot have hajj. So visa is muqaddama for hajj. There can be different types of muqaddama. من غير فرق, there is no difference. بين كون المقدمة منحصرة أو غير منحصرة. Sometimes muqaddama is munhasara, means exclusive. That's the only thing that works. For example, for going to Hajj, you have to have visa. You cannot have either visa or something else. For salat, you must have wuzu. Yes, in emergency you can have tayammum, but in normal situation you don't have option. You have to have wuzu. Okay? But for example, if you are asked to be on the roof, kun ala sath, you can use ladder, you can use a staircase, you can, I don't know, ask someone to throw a rope and then you hold up the rope, and there are many different ways to go there. If someone is, for example, in need of help and you want to rescue him from fire, maybe there are different ways. So sometimes these things that you are using in order to achieve your goal are exclusive. There is no alternative. Sometimes there is alternative.
Still Saud Muqaddam. To go up on the roof is still Saud is the your Muqaddam.
Yeah, but Su'ud can be done different ways.
Yeah.
So Muqaddama can be munhasara, means exclusive, or غير munhasara means not exclusive. غاية الأمر. The only thing is that if it is munhasara, exclusive, لانحصر رفع الاستحالة بها. Impossibility of having main thing is only removed if this is there. Without this, it's impossible. If you want to make it possible to have Zal Muqaddama, you must have this. If it is not exclusive, you can have Zal Muqaddama with this or with alternative. Okay? لَنَحَصَرَ رَفْعُ الْإِسْتِحَالَةِ بِهَا. Removing impossibility of Zal Muqaddama depends only on this. Nothing else can help you to make it possible. وَإِنْ كَانَتْ غَيْرَ مُنْحَصِرَةٍ. But if it is not exclusive, لَنْحَصَرَ رَفْعُ الْإِسْتِحَالَةِ فِي الْإِتْيَانِ بِهَا أَوْ بِغَيْرِهَا. You can bring this or you can bring something else. Okay. Now, what's the question? So far we just brought definition. We try to give you a picture of what is Muqaddama, what is al-Muqaddama. But please tell us what is the question. The question is this. قد وقع الخلاف في وجوب مقدمة الواجب شرعا بعد اتفاق العقلاء على وجوبها عقلا. There are two things. One of them is agreed by all. One of them is controversial. What everyone agrees is that if Zal Muqaddama is wajib, you have to bring Muqaddama. If you have to go to Hajj, you have to do visa, you have to reserve ticket and so on. So there is no doubt about the necessity of bringing Muqaddama as a rational requirement. What is controversial is, can we say that in addition to the judgment of aql, that Muqaddama is wajib, is there also possibility of saying that religiously also Muqaddama is wajib? So is the wujub of Muqaddama only aqli or it is also shar'i? So we can say that there is a religious obligation here. So no one doubts that you have to bring Muqaddama. What they doubt is there also possibility of saying that there is shar'i requirement, religious requirement or not? For example, if you remember in the previous book also I mentioned this. For example, of course, even this is questionable. What I'm going to say, and some people have said it's questionable. But just to give you an idea, if we say muqaddamatul wajib wajibatun shar'an, some people have said it means that then if you don't bring it, you have committed two sins. You didn't go for Hajj, so you disobeyed one religious ruling. You didn't get your visa sorted out, so you didn't do the second religious wajib. So they say you have committed two sins. Because there are two religious rulings. One is for muqaddama, one for zal muqaddama. Of course, I told you in the previous book that even this is controversial because some people may say when there is wujub shar'i for muqaddama, it's not counted as a second sin. It's the same sin. But anyway, this can be just a way to explain. So the question is wujub al-muqaddama wajibun shar'an or not? Only it's aqli. وقد وقع الخلاف في وجوب مقدمة الواجب شرعا بعد اتفاق العقلاء على وجوبها عقلا. Uqala have agreed on the necessity of muqaddama aqlan, from a rational perspective. But is it also shar'an wajib or not? قبل الدخول في صلب الموضوع, before we get into the core of the subject, نذكر أقسام المقدمة. We mentioned different types of muqaddama. Is it okay? Everything is okay? Am I too excited or is good? I have, huh? Okay. The speed or the speed? Okay. You know, I am trying to pump you excitement, so this is why I'm getting too excited, so that you get at least half excited like me. قبل الدخول في صلب الموضوع نذكر أقسام المقدمة. We mentioned some of the types of muqaddimah. Okay. فنقول. So we say there are different types. One. Al-Muqaddimah can be dakhiliyah and kharijiyah. Internal or external. Internal muqaddamah like qira'ah, recitation for salat, ruku for salat, sujood for salat. These are internal requirements for salat. External like wuzu for salat, istiqbalul qibla for salat, facing qibla. Of course, maybe someone says this is also internal, but we have to make it before salat as well. Or ibahatul makan, for example, you have to make sure that your place is mubah, it belongs to you, and or you have permission to use it. So there are different requirements. Some requirements are inside the wajib, some are outside the wajib.
There's
So
one question. Ask the internal requisites. I think I'm not sure. You can confirm for me. Imam Khomeini said also concentrating on the prayers is also one of the requisites. Is it correct? By now?
It's not a fiqhi prerequisite. It's not a requirement for validity or sahha. It's a requirement for acceptability of salat. So from fiqhi perspective, it's not a problem if you don't have concentration, but from a spiritual point of view, your salat will not be accepted unless you have presence of heart. Okay. So تقسيمها إلى داخلية وخارجية. Muqaddamah is divided into internal and external. What is internal muqaddamah? المقدمة الداخلية هي كل جزء من أجزاء المركب. Any part of a compound is dakhili, because it's part of it. Like salat is a combination of different actions. Each of those actions, like recitation, ruku, sujood, these are internal muqaddimah. كالصلاة فإن كل جزء منها مقدمة داخلية. Why we say this is muqaddimah? Because without those parts you cannot have the entire compound. So it's a kind of prerequisite, but internal. But maybe in English it's problematic to say prerequisite, because it doesn't come before in time. It's before in order. فكل جزء في نفسه مقدمة لوجود المركب. Every part is a prerequisite. Why we call it داخلية? Because inside. داخل في قوام المركب is inside the compound. Like hamd and ruku for salat. المقدمة الخارجية هي كل ما يتوقف عليه الشيء. So it's a prerequisite. Our wajib depends on it, but له وجود مستقل. It is independent. It has independent existence. It's outside the wajib, but it's needed for wajib. Like wudu. Wudu independently exists. Yeah? You may make wudu and even not say prayer, or you may make wudu and later you say prayer. You don't make wudu inside prayer. Yeah? Wudu is not internal, it's external. Is it clear? Okay. The second division is to divide muqaddama into three types. And that is based on how you come to know something is required. Sometimes muqaddama is aqli, rational. It means that you have a rational argument to believe that this is needed. Sometimes it is shari'i. You understood it from sharia. Sometimes it is adi. Means according to common sense. Al-Muqaddamatu al-Aqliya. Third is adi. Adi means normal, which means according to common sense. For example, Tawaqquful Hajj, you have to travel in order to do Hajj. Tawaqqufu Hajj al-Bayt ala qat' al-masafa. Qat' al-masafa means you have to travel. Okay? How did you understand that for Hajj you need to travel? Aql. Aql tells you that you are not there, you have to travel. Al-Muqaddamatu Shar'iyya is what you understand through Sharia. Like Tawaqqufu Salat ala Tahara. Even all the philosophers of the world, they could not understand, if they were just using aql, that for salat we have to make wuzu. Yeah? Maybe they realize that we have to clean ourselves, but to make wuzu, in this type, it's something we learn from Sharia. Al-Muqaddamatul Adiyya is something that it's not aqli requirement, but as a ordinary course of action, this is needed. For example, Tawaqqufu Su'ud ala Sath. If you want to be on the roof, it's not impossible to have different ways, but in the ordinary situation, you need to use ladder. But maybe some people, can, throw you up, or maybe, they can send a rope. So sometimes it's an ordinary course of action. So either it is understood through reason, or through Sharia, or through the ordinary course of action, something that common sense tells you to do. Inshallah, we continue after Salah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. This third classification of muqaddimah. Muqaddimah can be one of the four types. We have already had two classifications. One was dakhiliya and kharijiyya, one was aqliya, shar'iyya, adiyya. The next is muqaddimah is sometimes muqaddimatul wujud. Muqaddimah, it can be So men have also some sense of color, huh? مقدمة الوجود مقدمة الصحة مقدمة الوجوب مقدمة العلم. Both are correct. Muqaddama is obvious, it's اسم مفعول, but muqaddama is because sometimes qaddama means taqaddama. So it's exceptionally correct to say muqaddama.
So we have more, we have,
Yes.
so we have these four plus the aqliya, shar'iyya, dakhiliya, kharijiyya.
That's another classification. Like for example, you can say human beings are divided into men and women. You can say human beings are divided, for example, into young and adult, or for example, according to their religion. You can have different classifications. Assalamu alaikum. Okay.
Al-Wujud and Al-Wujub.
Al-Wujud, As-Sihha, Al-Wujub, Al-Ilm. So, we explain all of them. Okay? So, first of all, الملاك في هذا التقسيم غير الملاك في التقسيمين الماضيين. Milak means criterion. The criterion for this classification is different. Every taqsim has its own criterion. Yeah? On what basis you are dividing, on what basis you are classifying. In the first classification, the criterion was to classify according to muqaddama itself. Muqaddama is either internal or external. The third was about who is judging, hakim. Who tells you that this is a requirement? Aql or shar or ada. Here is bi'atibar dhiha. Means according to dhil muqaddima. We classify muqaddima according to dhil muqaddima. Means according to what requires this. For example, sometimes it is muqaddamatul wujud. What does it mean? It means that the existence of dhil muqaddima depends on this. The existence of dhil muqaddima. For example, whenever you have a compound, the existence of compound depends on the existence of each part. So this is muqaddamatul wujud. Like for salat, qira'ah, sujood, ruku are muqaddamatul wujud. You cannot have salat without these parts. Muqaddamatul wujud. What about wuzu? Is wuzu muqaddamatul wujud for salat?
مقدمة الوجوب maybe.
Not muqaddamatul wujud.
مقدمة الصحة.
Without wuzu, you can have salat. But that salat is not valid. But without parts, you cannot have salat. Okay? So, the first type of muqaddama is muqaddamatul wujud. It means that wujud or existence of the muqaddama requires to bring this muqaddama. Like bringing parts for the compound. Second,
So parts of salah,
part of salat,
ruku, sujood,
or part of anything, yeah. Anything that has combination of parts. Second, muqaddamatus sihha. Prerequisite for validity. Validity of that wajib, for example, like salat, depends on this muqaddama. Validity, not existence. Because maybe without this still can exist, but it is not valid. ما تتوقف الصحة ذي المقدمة عليها. Something that the validity of the muqaddama depends on it. كتوقف صحة الصلاة على الطهارة. If you say salat without wuzu, this salat is not valid. You can say salat without wuzu, but it is not valid. Is it clear? Or al-aqd al-fuduli. Have you come across this term, fuduli?
We heard the term.
In Urdu, it is useless.
Means what?
It's useless.
Useless? No. Fuduli in Farsi means nosiness. If someone is nosy, fuzuli means nosiness. But here, what does it mean? Is a expression in fiqh. If I sell your house, this is called al-bay'ul fuduli. I am not owner, I am not the agent, but I sell your house. And that person buys the house from me and gives the money to me, I sign something. This transaction is not valid unless later the owner gives the consent. So it's not completely void, but it's conditional. If the owner says, I am happy with it, so it goes. If he says, I'm not happy, it's cancelled. Okay? So this is called Bay al-Fuduli. So, وتوقف صحة العقد الفضولي على إجازة المالك. Why he says عقد الفضولي? Because this can be bay, this can be shira, this can be ijara, it can be many different types of transactions. Sometimes you sell on behalf of someone, sometimes you buy, sometimes you rent, sometimes you hire. So any transaction that you do it on behalf of someone who is not informed, this would not be valid unless the consent comes. And there is a difference between al-fuduli and al-ma'zun. Al-fuduli, al-ma'zun. Al-ma'zun is the one who has permission. You have given me permission to sell your house. I am ma'zun. Fuduli is the one who doesn't have permission. He sells, later he gets consent. So for ma'zun, the consent was already there. For fuduli, it comes later. Do you get the difference?
Opposites. They're opposites.
Opposite in the sense that both of them are coming with consent, but one comes before, izn comes before, but
Fuzuli comes out.
this kind of consent and saying, okay, I don't mind, comes later. Okay? Okay. وتوقف صحة العقد الفضولي على إجازة المالك. The fuduli transaction depends on the permission, on the consent of the owner. As I said, aqd is general. It can be buying, selling, hiring, renting, any transaction. Muqaddamatul wujub, the third. We had this in the previous book. Muqaddamatul wujub, we said is different from muqaddamatul wajib. Muqaddamatul wujub means wujub is not there if this prerequisite is not there. Like al-istita'a for Hajj. Without istita'a, Hajj is not wajib. And you don't need to make yourself mustati. It's not wajib to make yourself mustati. Because without istita'a, there is no wujub. So if someone, as soon as he gets money, he spends the money. So Hajj doesn't become wajib for him. Is it clear? So it's the condition for obligation. So not condition for obligatory. It's condition for obligation, not for obligatory. For wujub, not wajib. So مقدمة الوجوب هي ما يتوقف وجوب ذي المقدمة عليها. The obligation depends on it. Without this, you don't have any obligation. كتوقف وجوب الحج على الاستطاعة بحيث لولا وجود المقدمة لما وجب ذوها من ذو المقدمة. Hajj depends on istita'a. In what sense? In the sense that if you have no istita'a, there is no wujub of Hajj. So Zal Muqaddam is not wajib. And you don't need therefore to do anything. And finally, Muqaddamatul Ilm or Muqaddimatul Ilm. What is Muqaddamatul Ilm? It means that it's not wujud which requires this. It's not sihha which requires this. It's not wujud which requires this. It's knowledge about the muqaddama that requires this. هي ما يتوقف العلم بتحقق ذي المقدمة عليها. To know that the muqaddama has come to existence requires this. So it's a condition for knowledge. Like what? For example, if someone doesn't know Qibla, he doesn't know the direction for prayer. What should he do?
Read on the 4 directions.
He says prayer to 4 directions in the way that covers equally 360 degrees. Yeah? So 90 degree for each prayer. So why you have to say prayer 4 times? Is it something that is muqaddamatul wujud? No. Muqaddamatul sihha? No. Muqaddamatul wujub? No. It's muqaddamatul ilm. In order to know that you have done your salat with condition, you have to repeat salat 4 times so that you know that your zimma is now free. You have no responsibility anymore. This is muqaddamatul ilm.
Well, it's including as well sahha, Sheikh, because otherwise your salah is not sahih if you pray in one direction and you're not knowledgeable.
No, it's sahih. If one of them was facing Qibla, it's sahih.
I'm not sure.
You don't know, but it's
If I
sahih.
pray in one direction only.
It's sahih, but you don't know. Imagine if Qibla is this, and I say my prayer in this direction, it's sahih.
Okay, if I pray that direction,
But you just don't know. In order to be sure, you repeat. Not in order to make your salat valid. Or for example, for wuzu, we say you have to wash extra. For example, you have to wash your face from where hairs grow up to here. Okay? But you have to wash extra. Why you have to wash extra? Or when you make ghusl, for example, your head and neck, you wash extra part of your body. Or when you wash right side, you wash more. Why you wash more? To make sure that the wajib is done. This is muqaddamatul ilm. Because we want to make sure that we have done the wajib. It's ihtiyat. Why? For muqaddamatul ilm. Is it clear? Yes. Okay. So, question. Out of these 4, which ones are related to our discussion about religious obligation that belongs to muqaddamah? Which of them? The first and the second. Pardon? Wujud and sihha. Not wujub. And not ilm. Okay? So, النزاع في وجوب المقدمة وعدمه. The debate. Niza means conflict. Here means debate, yeah? The discussion between obligatoriness or obligation of muqaddama or non-obligation is only in the first two types, muqaddamatul wujud wa muqaddamatul sihha. Amma muqaddamatul wujub definitely is not, something that we discuss, because no one says muqaddamatul wujub is wajib. It's neither wajib shar'an nor aqlan. Because wujub, the third type, no one said it's wajib, because without this, even wajib, the zal muqaddama is not wajib, let alone muqaddama. Amma muqaddamatul wujub fahuwa kharijun an mahatt al-niza. It's out of question. Okay? It's not something we discuss. Why? Because without this muqaddama, even that wajib is not wajib. Without istita'a, hajj is not wajib. فَكَيْفَ تَجِبُ الْمُقَدَّمَةِ? If hajj is not wajib, then why istita'a is wajib? Okay. أما المقدمة العلمية, the fourth type, this is also out of question. Why? Because definitely we don't need religiously to do 4 salat or to wash more than necessary. Religiously we don't have this duty. Aql tells us that if you want to be on the safe side, if you want to make sure that you have done your salat properly, do 4 times. If you want to make sure that your wuzu is done properly, wash a little bit more to make sure that you washed wajib. So religiously there is no wuju. Do you have any religious requirement to do 4 salat? 4 salat az-zuhr, 4 salat asr? No. أما المقدمة العلمية فلا شك في خروجها عن محط النزاع فإنها واجبة عقلا لا غير. It's only rationally, intellectually necessary, not other than that. لو ورد الشرع في الشرع الأمر بالصلاة إلى جهات الأربع. Even if you come across something in religion, for example, if there is a hadith that says you have to do 4 salat, this hadith is just referring to the rational judgment, irshad. It's not, tashri'. If you find a hadith that tells you that you have to do 4 salat, it's just for what? Just to remind you of what your aql tells you. Okay? لو ورد في الشرع الأمر بالصلاة إلى الجهات الأربعة. If in religion, in religious law, in Sharia, there is a command to do salat to 4 directions, فهو إرشاد إلى حكم العقل. This is guiding you to the judgment of aql. It's not ta'asisun, it's not tashri'un, it's not a religious ruling. Shara tells you, like for example, if Shara tells you something about your diet, this is not a religious thing. Although Imam may say something or Prophet say about diet, but it's irshad. It's something to help you with your health. We move on to the next classification. Are you ready for the next one?
How many classifications are there?
As much as you need. So we have another tetra classification. السبب الشرط المعد المانع. These classifications are very useful for those who study fiqh, but also, as I said before, it sharpens your mind. Because then, before studying usul, you have very simplistic understanding of everything. Everything for you is clear. Like some people, for them everything is clear. Everything is clear. Everything is black and white. But when you study Usul, you realize there are many, many different possibilities, many different angles. So for someone who is well learned, it's very difficult to make up his mind. It takes time, it takes lots of research. For someone who is at a very basic level, they quickly jump to the conclusion. And they attract people who are like them. The people who are simplistic in their understanding, they attract people who are simple. So, it's very good to learn these things. Even if you are not going to become a mujtahid, still it's good for you. For your analysis, for your critical thinking, it's very important. Okay? So, we have 4 types of muqaddamah. As-sabab, like cause. Ash-shart, condition. Mu'id, preparatory. Mane, obstacle. ملاك هذا التقسيم هو اختلاف كيفية تأثير كل في ذيها. Every taqsim needs a melak, needs a criterion. What is the criterion here? How does this muqaddimah play a role in zal muqaddimah? What is the role? What is the function of this muqaddamah with respect to zal muqaddamah? Is it a sabab for it? Is it a condition for it? Is it an obstacle for it? Or it's preparatory? There are 4 possibilities. We give you explanation, examples, everything will be clear inshallah. Just, we have to be patient. Okay? Everything will be inshallah clear soon. First, as-sabab. What is sabab? ما يلزم من وجوده وجود المسبب. The cause. When the cause is there, the effect is there. When the cause is not there, the effect is not there. Unless there is an alternative cause. If there is no alternative cause, when the cause is not there, the effect is not there. For example, when sun reaches the middle of the sky, this is the cause for wujub salat. Salat al-zuhr becomes wajib. When sun reaches the middle and a little bit moves towards the west. We call it zawal al-shams. Yeah? So from the middle of the sky goes a little bit towards the west. Noon prayer becomes wajib. So what did make it wajib? As-sabab. ما يلزم من وجوده وجود المسبب ومن عدمه عدمه كالدلوك بالنسبة إلى وجوب الصلاة. When you reach the midday, salat becomes wajib. If you don't reach midday, for example 10 o'clock in the morning, it's not wajib. 10 o'clock salat is not obligatory. Duluk means zawal, movement. Yeah. Or imagine a person in the time when there was a slavery. There used to be a slavery all over the world, but in the Islamic world it stopped very soon. One of the things Islam did to combat slavery was to encourage people to free slaves. There is high recommendation, lots of reward for people who free slaves. And also as compensation for some sins, the kafara, the compensation is to free slaves. Okay? So, if a person who has a slave, we call it sayyid, his master, says to his abd, to his slave, Anta hurrun liwajhillah. For the sake of Allah, you are free. This saying, this i'taq means to free. this is the cause for freedom of this slave. After that, he becomes free. And i'taq doesn't need acceptance. It's not like marriage or transaction. It's just enough to initiate it. So if someone says, anta hurrun, this is enough to make that person free. So this is sabab. This is the cause. Second, ash-shart. Sometimes it is condition. ما يلزم من عدمه عدم المشروط ولا يلزم من وجوده وجوده. If condition is not there, what is conditional cannot come. But if condition is there, still what is conditional may not come. Let me repeat and then give you example. Example makes it very clear. When condition is there, still you may not have the conditional. But when the condition is not there, definitely you cannot have the conditional. Like what? If you have wuzu, you may say prayer or you may not say prayer. So just having wuzu doesn't guarantee that you have prayer. But if you don't have wuzu, definitely prayer is not working. Without wuzu, no prayer. But with wuzu, maybe one prays, maybe one doesn't pray. Maybe one says prayer, but it's not valid. Maybe one says prayer. So only this side is sorted out. Still, we have to worry about the rest. So you cannot say, because I have the condition, everything is finished. No, just this part is sorted out. Still, you may not have what is conditional upon wuzu, and that is salah. The zal muqaddama may not be there. So the condition is what? If it doesn't exist, requires non-existence of zal muqaddama and conditional. But if it exists, it doesn't require the existence of zal muqaddama or mashroot. Kal wudu bin nisbati ila salat. Or nasbu sullam, to put ladder, doesn't mean that you are going to be on the roof, because this is one condition. You have to also climb it. If you just put the ladder, it's not going necessarily mean that you are going to be on the roof. Is it clear? Yeah. The third, al-mu'id. Al-mu'id. I'dad, what does i'dad mean? Preparatory. Preparation, mu'id means preparatory. You know, in Arabic countries, they say al-madaris al-i'dadiyya. After al-madaris al-ibtidaiya, after primary school, they have al-madaris al-i'dadiyya, which means like secondary school for preparation, i'dad. In ziyarah, they say wa nusrati lakum mu'adda. Mu'adda means it's prepared. My assistance is prepared. Or jannatun u'iddat lil muttaqin, is prepared. Jannah is prepared. Allah is not going to prepare later. Your heaven is ready. Your reward is ready. Okay? And it's very important. Sometimes we say to our child, if you study well and get good result, I buy a bicycle for you. Okay? If he trusts you, he would work hard to get good result, but still he's worried. I trust my father, but maybe something happens that he will not be able to keep his promise. Maybe something more urgent happens. Maybe he loses his job. So this poor child is always worried. Is my father going to finally buy for me this or not? And if he doesn't trust you, then it's even worse. If you have promised something in the past and you didn't keep your promise, he worries more. But even if he's sure about you, he's worried. But sometimes you buy the bicycle and put it in garage and say, this is o'eddat الدراجة أعدت is prepared for you. Just get the good result. Then he's relaxed. Every day when he comes from school, he goes there and sees the bicycle is there, so he studies homework, everything very good. So Allah says to us, your reward, your heaven is u'iddat. Just do your homework properly. Don't worry. So, mu'id is ism fa'il. Means something that prepares. Preparatory. Mu'ad means something which is prepared. Okay? So, what is mu'id? What makes the effect closer? ما يقرب المعلول إلى العلة. What makes or takes the effect nearer to the cause? Like what? If you are supposed to go on top of the ladder to be on the roof, imagine this ladder has 10 steps, okay? Each step makes you one stage nearer to what you want. This one step by itself is not enough, but it helps you for the second stage, and the second helps you for the third stage. So it's mu'id. We don't have such a thing that every step is a condition, but because we cannot reach the ultimate end without going through these 1, 2, 3, so each of them is needed. So it's a kind of shart, but a shart which comes in a gradual way. فَإِنَّ الصُّعُودِ إِلَى كُلِّ دَرَجَةٍ, climbing to every step, مُعِدٌ, prepares للصعود, for climbing to the next daraja. Okay? So you go one by one. Al-Mani', obstacle. Obstacle is opposite to condition. Shart is something that you need to have in order to have the conditional. Mani is something that you need not to have in order to have the ذل مقدمة. ما يكون وجوده مانعا عن تأثير المقتضي. If it exists, it doesn't let the cause to work. For example, if someone dies, his son inherits from him. So, the death of the father is the cause for inheritance. But if, God forbid, this son was involved in the killing of his father so that he inherits from his father, murder is an obstacle for inheritance. That son cannot inherit from his father. Okay? Salam. Is it clear? So, al-qatlu mani'un is different from something which is conditioned. You don't tell me, for example, okay, so we can say adamul wudu mani'un. Wuzu is shart, adamul wuzu is mani'. We say no. Adamul wuzu is not stopping something. Wuzu is conditioned. Adamul wuzu is not mani'. Is it clear? But qatl is mani'. Qatl is something that comes and stops. Fifth. Shall I tell you the fifth also? Or you are tired? Okay. So we stop here. There are some more classifications, and then there is after these classifications, there is a short discussion about the whole issue, because it's not very difficult to take a position about whether muqaddamatul wajib is wajibun shar'an or not. And the answer is that it's not wajibun shar'an. Inshallah, we will explain in the next session. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.